Okay, welcome to the Vision Cash Management 1120 webinar. We're just going to kind of do a high-level view of a lot of the changes we did and kind of just go through a workflow from receipt all the way to deposit, just to kind of show you where things have, maybe show you some stuff that's changed, what hasn't changed, just kind of give you a better grip of the differences now. So we'll start with the look and feel. If you're used to financials at all, it looks exactly the same. It's all of your buttons that were at the bottom left are still there. We still got posting, banking services, data center. It's just now, instead of having to click on that button, wait for that option to load, and then select your next option, it's just there for you to get to. So majority of our stuff is going to be spent in posting and banking services. That's your normal stuff. So along the top is your quick access launch buttons. These are where all the posting programs are. You can't get to them from the receipt center also. So if you go to the receipt center and select new, you can get there also. But I just find it a lot more convenient, and depending on wherever you can be in deposits at any point in time, you can go launch a financial receipt, utility, whatever you need to do. So those are the two different ways you can get to the posting programs themselves. So we'll start off now on the posting, and we'll do a financial receipt. Financial receipts in the past were you had one cash management receipt that would have multiple financial receipts in it, and that ended up being a bit more confusing and cumbersome, so we ended up combining them together into one-to-one. So now the receipt you get in cash management is the receipt you get in financials. So this reference here will be the same reference you see in both systems. But just like invoices and other things in financials, it must be unique. So one of the things we are doing now also is when you print a receipt, we're going to override this reference with the receipt number itself. That way you actually, for the first time, can track the financial receipt numbers in the financial system. So we do have a few people that like to use the reference in cash management to note things they're paying on. We would suggest that now you would use the notes field over here. Because that way you could, real similar to what you do with invoices, where you have the note field next to the invoice number. You can put it here, and that will show up in the transaction activity report and some of the other reports. So we just find it's much more convenient now to leave these the same, so that way if you post it here, you can find it in both systems. Before it was really hard to take a receipt in cash management and go find it in financials. Now that they're the same, it should be a lot easier to use. We've also added a lot more settings here. So if you notice that, we're just going to post the receipt real fast. We'll put the total amount in, click the post button next to the amount. Notice that the amount is now locked in and allows you now to go add your distribution. So you can add your distribution, type whatever amounts you want. You can put in whether it's check, credit. So all this stuff is real similar to what's always been. If you use utility billing, licensing, stuff like that, this probably looks real similar to what the other ones look like. If you need to move the financial period, that's over here, and the posting date's on the top right. If you have some screen issues where some of the stuff is crunched in, you can actually spread this out. And the nice thing about it is if you actually save these settings, we can go back in, and those settings will stay. But that is per computer. So you want to say this, it makes sense to move the objects around on the screen to fit your monitor, and then save those settings so you don't have to keep stretching them out. So the stretch feature and saving the screen itself is just for the posting programs, because we find that there's just a lot going on here, and each screen kind of shows the resolution a little bit different. If you're a person that uses receipt vendors, you can show the receipt vendors here and select which one you want to use. And when you click post, it will distribute based on what your settings are. You also can put in a percentage amount in your receipt vendors, and it would distribute this $100 based on those. If you end up using the hotkey feature, if you right-click on a grid and go to the column chooser, you can bring the hotkey code out, and then if you end up dragging it out, or if you know the code, you can type it in, and then it will change based on whatever that hotkey code is. And the good thing is that if you save these grid settings, the showing the vendor name, the hotkey, all this will save with that setting. And you can always restore back to what the default is if you wanted to go back to what it was originally. The next most common receipt is utility billing. Same kind of look and feel here. The only difference is when you select an account, it will start distributing it as soon as you end up changing. In this case, it automatically distributes here. I can change this a couple times over, and you'll see how it's distributing based on our rules, whatever you have set up in your billing system. If you end up doing an overpayment, it will tell you about the overpayment. And if you have, we have a setting that will allow you, if you want the credit memo to be the default, we can still leave it as the default. If you want to select the rate every single time, we can leave that too. Either setting you pick, you can still add as many rates and charges as you want. So if someone is paying like a year in advance, you could kind of break it up a little bit if you need to. And again, just like the financials, you can kind of move this around, adjust it to your screen resolution. We've also added in all the posting programs an inquiry. It's just a basic inquiry. It kind of gives you a high-level view of what has happened to, in this case, an account. It's in descending order for the last 2 years. So it shows a couple bills, receipts, bills, receipt. You'll see meter reads in here, adjustment bills. You also will see any account notes you put in here, and it's in date order. And if you want to, just like everything else, you could filter what you're seeing here. You can print this out. If somebody wanted something, you want to print out this kind of a high-level inquiry form. So all in all, it really hasn't changed a whole lot. We just kind of eliminated the post button and just made it auto do stuff as you select the account, as you select the payment, it'll automatically do it for you. So there's no need for the post button anymore. On the other ones, I'll just cover one of them, but you'll notice that they will be real similar, kind of look exact same look and feel. They all kind of post, they all do overpayments, they all have the financial period on the right. You have a reference, you have a posting date over here. So all these are kind of mirrors of each other. So once you learn one of them, you really know how to post all receipts in cash management. So in the receipt center itself, one of the nice things about here is this will by default show you all the receipts that you currently do not have deposited. We ran into a few customers that forgot to deposit some receipts maybe 2-3 years ago. We found a couple old EP1s, so that's kind of what's happening here. But we can actually help you clear those out if we need to. It makes it nice just because if you go from 1 month to the next, that everything will actually be, you'll notice that you didn't leave any behind. You can group this, right now it's grouped by system. If you don't like that, you can group it. You can sort it by date, when it was posted. You can filter it just like everything else. You can filter financial ones. And if you notice here how these references are cash management receipt number, that's because the receipt was printed for them. If you want to open one, you can select it and say open. You can double click it and open it. With financial receipts, it's a little bit different than others. As long as the system isn't locked, you can still come in here and change it, but you can't make the amount different than the total amount. And you're able to do that until it's attached to a deposit, and at that time it becomes locked. Or unless you want, we added a new setting for locking receipts based on a number of days. So then you can now have it set where after 30 days the receipts become locked, you can no longer change them. So we have that ability now. We've also given you the ability to have warnings based on if you're posting something too far in the past or too far in the future. So you can now put a setting, if you like, to set the receipts to warn. So for instance, you post a utility bill, and for the posting date, you put 8/20/2016, it will give you a warning that you did that. It won't stop you from doing it, but at least will tell you that you're doing it. So all these settings, if you like them, just definitely give us a call. We'll help you set them up, walk you through all the different options. One of the big things too for some of the systems is, like in licensing, you can now do reversal receipts. So it will create an exact copy of the receipt and just flip all of it negative. It will actually attach itself to the existing invoice that I originally paid on. So this is available to every system except for financials. So, but for utility billing, if they have an NSF, you can actually attach an NSF reversal receipt to it, reverses it automatically. You can also hook it up to a set in utility billing if you like it to auto-generate an NSF charge for you. The NSF charge is for utility billing only. The other options for reversal NSF exist in all systems except for financials. The next item is you've got the file import export stuff. This is for invoice cloud, direct debit, stuff like that. We also use it for some of our scan stuff. So if you want, we have an option now if you want utility billing high-speed scanning receipts. You can scan in a batch, review them, look over them, put in some check number references, and hit save and admin as one big batch. Also, if you have invoice cloud, you'll see those here too. Summary transactions. This is not a whole lot different. It's just where you actually group all your receipts together to eventually attach to a deposit. It's still linked together per system. The biggest change on this one is if you create a new one, it lists all the systems that currently need a summary transaction creator form. You just select which system you want to create one for, create the transaction, and then this screen is the exact same screen you had before. Just makes it a little bit easier because now if you do these, you can save a new. The utility billing ones, if you did them all, that would drop off the list, and as you do each one, there wouldn't be anything left. So this allows you to see which systems, when you get multiple systems, you need to do these for. The nice thing about this, the center and manager here, is if you actually click on current report, it does call the financial transaction activity report for you. And then if you open one up and click it from here, it will actually select that specific record. So it allows you to create it and then print a report for it. The only caveat I would say there is you need to make sure you save before you run the report. So if you end up doing this and get a blank report, it probably means you didn't save first. So all you have to do is close this, save it, and then rerun it. Last but not least is deposits. Before, again, when we talked about earlier, is that we used to have where you had 3 different types of deposits. We now class that into just one type of deposit. So that makes it a lot easier just to understand what we need to do. New deposit to new deposit. If you want to see an existing one, you can open an existing one. You've got your notes, your fiscal periods, what bank it goes to. Here's all the items that are part of this deposit currently. If you end up printing this report, it will show you the deposit register for the specific record you selected. The real nice thing and change about this one is if you need to change the period. If you forget to change your default in the beginning of the month, you can actually attach everything to the deposit, save it, move the entire deposit to another fiscal, and it will move the summary transactions and the receipts themselves to that period. That really concludes the overview of the cash management changes. We have some training documentation for some of the stuff. If you'd like to see that, just shoot us an email. We can send you a copy of it, and definitely feel free to give us a call. Thanks for